with Hashem's loving grace. Today's podcast is entitled The King is in the Pub, and it's based on an old Hasidic parable that I heard from my esteemed teacher, the Melitzer Rebbe Shlita. There was once a young but very wise king who had a special custom. Every so often, he'd remove his royal garments and dress up like a common person. This would enable him to blend into the masses. Sometimes he'd disguise himself as a simple shopper in the outdoor market. Other times, he'd enter a local pub and order a schooner of ale. He'd always chose a place where he could be among people and listen to what they had to say. During the king's disguised outings, he would learn much from the citizens. He heard their complaints against the monarchy and also their praise. He heard which government officers were faithfully serving the citizens and which were not. He even heard about certain corrupt bureaucrats who demanded bribes for their services. One day, the king entered a pub and sat down at the back table. A group of 10 or so men were having a lively conversation while drinking their beer. That's exactly the type of situation that the king enjoyed. One of the 10 men, a bloke named Digby, kept glancing back at the king. After the third glance, he hushed his buddies and said in a loud whisper, "Hey mates, hold your tongues, the king is here!" They all laughed. They laughed at him. "Digby, you're daft," they all snickered. "Can't you hold your ale anymore? The next thing you'll tell us is the Mickey Mouse is tending the bar." "Well, laugh all you want," said Digby, "but I know what I'm talking about. I worked in the palace for 6 months, and I recognize the king when I see him." Well, that's our parable. What does it mean? We see all types of situations in life, many of them unpleasant. They all look like common occurrences that we attribute to nature or to bad fortune, but they're really not. For those who don't know the King, Hashem, they can easily fall into sadness and despair because they think that they're at the mercy of their predicament. They don't realize that it's really the King of Kings, Hashem, dressed up to conceal himself. But for the fortunate people with Emunah who realize that their difficulty in life is only disguise, they maintain their optimism. They know that Hashem does everything and does it all for the best. Once we recognize the King, we discover the silver lining in the dark cloud, and everything turns around for the very best. Just wait and see.